Wilt Chamberlain was basketball's unstoppable force and the most dominant offensive player the game has ever seen. Asked to name the greatest player ever to play basketball, most fans would put Wilt Chamberlain at or near the top of the list.
He was the Goliath of NBA basketball, who people feared to play and always had the advantage on the opposing player.
The 7-foot, 1-inch, 275-pound superstar put up astonishing points and rebounds throughout 14 years in the NBA, along with being a pop culture phenomenon off the court.
On August 21st, 1936, in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Wilton Norman Chamberlain was given birth by William and Olivia Chamberlain. William, a handyman, and Olivia, a domestic worker, had 8 other children along with Wilt. Wilt and his family lived in a racially mixed middle-class neighborhood, and Chamberlain had a relatively pleasant childhood.
At Shoemaker Junior High School, Wilt began to play on the basketball team, and he also played on the playgrounds against older players who taught him a lot about the game. Despite his father's 5'8" height, Wilt grew to 6'10" by the age of 15.
Along with being a superb athlete in basketball during junior high, he was a great runner and a high jumper, alluding to be a great track and field star. Also, Wilt participated in recreational activities such as racing boats, water skiing, volleyball, tennis, boxing, golf, and even polo. In spite of his athletic ability, Wilt became self-conscious and unsocial at that time.
In 1952, Wilt Chamberlain attended Overbrook High School and immediately became a star on the high school basketball team. He averaged 36.3 points per game, including a 90-point performance in one of his basketball games. By the end of his high school career, he broke Tom Gola's Philadelphia high school scoring record with 2,252 points, alongside leading his team to 2 city championships and a 58-3 record. Dozens of colleges recruiting on Chamberlain, but ended up choosing Kansas University, joining legendary coach Forrest C. Allen.
1, 2, 3, hit it!
His first college showcase as a sophomore was in front of a sellout Kansas Jayhawks crowd and had a 52-point performance on December 3rd, 1956. His college career was likewise spectacular. Opposing players double and triple teamed him and played a slowed-down game rather than attempt to confront Chamberlain's offensive skills head-on. He was named an All-American in both his sophomore and junior years. Chamberlain led Kansas to the National Collegiate Athletic Association Finals in the spring of 1957. Several of the rules of college basketball had to be changed as a result of Chamberlain's talents, which simply dwarfed those of previous.
Leaving his mark in college basketball, Wilt stunningly left the Kansas Jayhawks to furthermore continue his basketball career. The NBA rules forbade him from joining the league until the year he would have graduated from college. Wilt Chamberlain began his professional career in 1958 when the Globetrotters signed him to one of the largest contracts in sports of $65,000.
Chamberlain was often quoted that his time with the Globetrotters was the most enjoyable of his career. In 1959, Wilton's team had the honor of playing basketball internationally around the globe, such as Moscow, Russia. From his exposure of playing basketball globally, people all around the world began to see an up-and-coming superstar.
On May 30th, 1959, with playing just 1 year with the Globetrotters, owner Eddie Globetrotter of the Philadelphia Warriors signed Chamberlain for $30,000 with additional bonuses. Wearing number 13, he became an immediate sensation with a debut of 43 points and 28 rebounds against the New York Knicks.
In Wilt's 4th NBA game, one of the most historic NBA rivalries sparked against the heavily favored Boston Celtics reigning champs when Chamberlain met his adversary, Bo Russell.
The first time that I ever felt sometime that my control of the game was not at its highest point, it had to be because this guy was tremendous.
Russell was known for his shutdown defense, while Wilt was known for his unstoppable offensive game. In their first of many matchups, Wilt outscored Russell 30-28, but Boston won the game.
He led the league in scoring with 37.6 points per game and rebounding with 27, and became the first player to win the MVP and Rookie of the Year in the same season. The season of 1961-1962 was one of the most memorable and statistical for Wilt. Wilt's achievements will never be surpassed. That year he averaged 48.5 minutes. He played all but 8 of 3,890 minutes that season and averaged 50.4 points, become the only player to crack the 4,000 point barrier. Chamberlain scored 78 points in a 3 overtime game and 73 points a month later. Though these were the two highest scoring games in NBA history, they were merely warm-up acts. On March 2nd, 1962, Chamberlain scored 100 points in a 169-147 victory over the Knicks at Hershey, Pennsylvania. He made 36 of 63 field goal attempts and incredibly converted 28 of 32 foul shots. Among these breathtaking statistics, there was yet a three-point line established in the game of basketball.
The 104th game brought tremendous attention to Wilt and the game itself. Wilt gained tremendous charisma with the public with several TV and radio interviews, like starring on The Ed Sullivan Show. To this day, Wilt's most famous unbroken record is deemed to be his 100-point game.
The season ended with no championships for Wilt, and before the next season, the Warriors, who had the league's top gate attraction in Chamberlain, moved to San Francisco. Chamberlain won another scoring title of 44.8 points and a rebounding crown of 24.3 in his debut to San Francisco. At the 1965 All-Star break, Chamberlain was traded by the financially strapped Warriors back to play basketball in his hometown of Philadelphia with the 76ers for Paul Newman.
Wilt Chamberlain's first season back in his hometown was special. The 1966-67 season started out 46-4 on the way to a 68-13 season. Coach Alex Hannum convinced Chamberlain that with all the other talented scorers on the team, he should focus his talents more on the other aspects of the game. Wilt's scoring average dipped to 24.3, but he led the league in rebounding, finished third in assists, and played terrific defense. The 76ers manhandled the Celtics and foe Bill Russell in the Eastern Finals and then defeated San Francisco in 6 games in the finals. In 1967-68, Chamberlain earned his third straight MVP, leading the league in assists, rebounding, field goal percentage, and finishing third in scoring. After the 76ers blew a 3-1 lead in the Eastern Conference Finals to Boston, Chamberlain was traded that summer to the Los Angeles Lakers for Derek Chambers, Archie Clark, and Jarrell Hall. In his second year with Los Angeles, he injured his knee 9 games into the season and didn't return until 3 games later.
Chamberlain averaged 20.7 points in 1970 and 1971, and 14.8 points in 1971 and 1972. Chamberlain was voted the 1972 Finals MVP, and the Lakers defeated the Knicks in 5 games. In 1972-1973, Chamberlain again led the league in rebounding, while his scoring dropped to 13.2 points. The Lakers again played New York in the finals, but this time it was the Knicks who took the championship with a victory in Game 5.
Chamberlain didn't know it at the time, but that was his last game. He would leave the NBA with 31,419 points and a record 23,924 rebounds. Nobody has passed the Big Dipper on the boards, but Kareem Abdul-Jabbar has scored more points and Michael Jordan has a higher average. But his career has not come with any critics. They say Chamberlain was an individual star and Russell's wins came from teamwork and not smart. Also, critics say he played lazy and often loafing on the court.
Yeah, and 7'1" Wilt Chamberlain was dominated when it counted by 6'9" Bill Russell. Just for the record.
No, he was.
Now Wilt would put up huge numbers, right? But they would lose.
They would lose.
Yeah.
But there is no doubt Wilt went down as a top 5 NBA all-time player.
After basketball life for Wilt Chamberlain was anything but boring. He played professional volleyball and starred in the 1984 movie Conan the Destroyer. In the late 70s, several teams tried and failed luring him out of retirement. Chamberlain got inducted into the Basketball Hall of Fame in his first year of eligibility and has number retired by the Los Angeles Lakers, Kansas Jayhawks, and Philadelphia 76ers. Wilt Chamberlain's co-written 4 books, including a 1992 book, A View from Above. Wilt critically came out in his book accusing himself of having slept with 20,000 women. He was never married or had kids. Wilt also starred in many commercials like this one for Charlotte.
He gave so much of it to us.
This was an integral part of my life and a good friend.